All right, so all day today, the aliens have been just assaulting the shit out of me. Everything from you're a loser to you don't get to feel that satiated feeling to you don't get to consider letting that go, interrupting the thought, so just to kind of keep my relationships all fucked up and just keep my life fucked up. And then if I sit there and just try to go into meditation to try to just get out of it, the whole time they're just assaulting the shit out of me. And I told myself I'm not gonna say anything about it because I'm just gonna end up playing into it and then it'll never end. But at the same time, I knew that at some point they'll probably get me to, or not probably, but they may get me to a point where I end up talking about it anyways, just to get it to go away. And so I've been thinking about what's been causing it, and I thought that maybe it was something I posted last night on Facebook, something to the effect of, they won't let me watch television because they're killing people if I watch too many of their movies or something. So I'm just going to read books. I'm going to read this 600-page book on 9/11. I'm reading The Art of War as well as that right now. And then I posted a picture of the book and then said after that I'm going to read this 700-page book on the political connections to child kidnapping rings and child trafficking rings. So I've been thinking to myself today, it's got to be that even though I put it in a way, I didn't say anything, with animosity in it. I didn't say, I'm going to get you. I wanted to say stuff like that, but I held back because it feels like they've been continually punishing me for that. Well, even with me going about it, the right way, the considerate way, the relaxed, if you will, way, that still, it just seemed to even cause it to get even worse, So I'm thinking, well, these people are just full of fucking misery. You know what I mean? They see that I'm going about it in a nice way, and they just cling to their fucking government. Whatever their government wants, they got to have it. You know what I mean? If the government doesn't like you talking about child kidnapping rings, then you're not allowed to talk about child kidnapping rings. However, I've been thinking about this, and I'm starting to think that it doesn't have anything to do with feeding into the public's animosity or harnessing their rage. What I think is that they're doing it because they need me to continually say, I quit. Do you see what I mean? Because the more I say I quit, the more they can say he's not doing this on his own will. You see what I mean? Because if they can say he's not doing this on his own will, then they can conclude that it's being done by something else. And they need it to be done by something else. Because they need their animosity satiated by it. Because if their animosity is satiated by it, then the end result is that they will be endeared to it. You see what I'm saying? So, anyways, it's I think a little bit of a delicate balance because for one, they need me to display anger. Because for one, when you have a person who's in a position of rulership, especially if they intend to do good things with it, then you're going to have an angry person. That means I'm going to have to stay activated. In other words, I can't really on my own just say I quit. I have to be personally engaged. I have to be personally invested. They have to feel that, oh, hey, I don't want to cross this person because he's emotionally invested in this and he's full of violence. So I don't really want to fuck with that guy. Because here's the thing. They can perceive a lot of theft coming from, undue gain coming from the government, and they don't want to let that go. They will just about forego anything, including their lives, just to continue having that. That's the way that is. So I think that I don't have many options here other than just to try and withstand it and just deal with it throughout the process until, they get the situation resolved or whatever it is, or they carry out their violence or whatever they do through me. But one of the things that I've been thinking is a good idea is to do more of these videos where I allow them to speak through me. So we're going to do that right now. We're going to see what they have to say. Efforts were made. Efforts were made. To kiss my evidence is. They said evidence is in there a second ago. I thought it was about the way I was holding my phone and my right arm is getting tired, but that's what they insinuated. But let's see here. If they suspect anything at all, we're not just gonna if they suspect anything at all, kiss my 2 cents. Yeah, I said something last night about, I put a new constitutional amendment that there needs to be a requirement that they receive 10% of the spoils of war that they go out and acquire on their own. And I put some historical precedent in there for that type of thing. And I included a line from The Art of War. I as well put some stuff in there that the Supreme Court will have the ability to strike down laws that expire under the 5-year sunset, laws that are repealed by, because it's going to be the House or the Senate can repeal a law by itself, but they can strike that down. And then we're going to see, because some laws like, that the CEO has to be chosen proportionally by the stockholders, different things like that really can't be allowed to expire. So anyways, I don't know if that's what they're talking about with the 2 cents. Maybe they wanted me to toss that in there. Let's see what else they have to say. So I thought that got me in trouble. They're just in for, it almost seemed like it said informant. In for it, but they didn't finish. Hold on. Inform us. I think they're talking, they seem to be suggesting, they kind of pointed in this direction and seemed like they're bouncing that off. There was a person there. It was an NSA person, So hire a double agent from the NSA to tell us what's going on. Jeremy Minor isn't in that kind of stuff. One of the things they love to talk about is Jeremy Minor. Whenever I was in sales, they've been talking about it a lot. Whenever I was in sales, I was looking for some good guidance online. I spent a lot of time looking for this, and I stumbled across a video where this guy had Jeremy Minor on as a guest. I was blown away by what he had to say. He's been the last time I checked, he was the fastest growing sales training program for 2 years in a row. He was a psychology student. He is about 6 hours short of a psychology degree. And one of the things that he was able to determine, he went on to become one of the top 50 salespeople, top 50 earning salespeople in the United States. And what he learned was that the pressure tactics that everybody's using are totally flawed, that you cannot get a sale from somebody by using pressure tactics because you activate their fight or flight response. And so instead, it's just entirely counterintuitive. Everything that's being taught nowadays is pretty much flawed, but he's correct. And I've had experience in sales. One of the things that I really liked about owning my own company was that I didn't have to apply pressure to people. That sucked. So I just said, well, I'm just not going to do it. And I had a really high sales percentage with that. I just wait for them to call me. You know what I mean? I don't bug them. And they just love talking about Jeremy Minor all the time. Something about, Jeremy Minor is involved, or he ain't involved, or I don't know. When I was in California, they said that he took his daughter down there and put her into sex trafficking so that he could figure out what was going on. I don't know if that's true or not, but anyways. If they suspect anything at all, what's that about? I think they want me to tell you what that is. So the reason, that they do this, the art of war says, do not press a desperate enemy. Don't make them desperate and then press the desperation. But with them, they love to make them desperate and then carry out what they're going to do anyways. Because essentially what they're saying is, because what the people in their hearts are saying is, I want you to let this person know they're fucked under no uncertain terms, scare the fuck out of them. And then the whole time that you're carrying that out, make them piss their fucking pants and then do it. Make all their worst nightmares come true. Create the nightmares in their head and then make them all come true. So that's a method of endearment on their behalf. So I guess they wanted me to tell you that. Witnessing that kind of, they're just playing off my thoughts. So I'm like, okay, so they're standing me here in front of these people. I'm not saying anything, but you're learning who I am. That might be worth something. And they wanted me to tell you I was thinking about it. Okay, fine. Humans don't embarrassing us. Everything was pizza before you got here. See, what they're talking about now is the child kidnapping rings. They're talking about, because the code word for child, I forget what it is. It's pizza. The pizza's the big word for child kidnapping and child molestation and, all this kind of shit. That's what they're doing. And they like to call it pizza. James Alefantis, he was rated as the most influential person in Washington by, I think, Inc. magazine. And all he had was a pizza restaurant. And the shape of the pizza emblem was the code word for child, molestation and all this kind of stuff. And it was, a triangle spiraling inward like that. And then they changed it. All right. If they suspect efforts were made, hard to say. Evidence is hard to say, but yeah. Efforts were made. Men, don't just do that kind of stuff. Stop it right there. Okay, so we're done right there. There you go.